So the second species really commonly found in bogs is the black spruce, or Picea mariana, found on page 106 of our tree book. So you can see the range of black spruce here right across Canada. So if you've heard of the boreal forest, we classify that as the boreal white and black spruce forest. So the black spruce is one of the main components of that forest, but it also extends down throughout much of British Columbia. A really distinct feature of the black spruce you can see in this image here is that deformed top. So what we call that a crow's nest, and how that happens is from red squirrels feeding on the cones that are located at the top of the tree. So you can see the cones here. So the book has some nice descriptions. I'll leave that to you to take a look at, but let's go take a look at some black spruce in the bog site here. So you can see the trees just in front of me. The crowns are slightly deformed, not quite as distinct as it shows in the book, but they do get that thickness to the tops of them. Another distinct feature that I find is they're often covered in that black lichen, so giving them a much darker appearance. So you can see the contrast between them, the two lodgepole pine kind of front and right, and the black spruce in behind. The lodgepole pine have that yellowish tinge, where the spruce is a darker green, almost a little bit bluey black to it. So these trees are found on nutrient poor sites, can grow on really wet sites, but also into drier sites as well, but generally more found on these nutrient poor type sites. They get outcompeted by other species on a nutrient rich site. Okay, getting in a little closer on the black spruce, taking a look at the needles here. You can see they're quite short, so they have very small needles. They're squared, so if you were to roll them in your fingers or do a cross section and look at them, they're not rounded. We'll take a look at some other spruce later. Usually we classify, or one of the key characteristics of spruce is sharp-tipped needles. So to grab them, they're quite sharp to touch. The black spruce have more blunt-tipped needles, so they're not near as pointy as all our other species of spruce. And take a look at the bark of our black spruce. Flaky bark similar to our lodgepole pine, but much larger, bigger flakes than the pine tree. So just put my hand in there for scale and reference. So very large flakes coming off of the black spruce tree. Just take a look at a couple others over here for comparison. So this one having really large flakes coming off of it. So I'm just walking around on the bog trying to find some mature cones, which I haven't been able to do yet. But what I have found is some very baby female cones, the little pink things coming off of the stem there. So those will get a little bit larger and develop into the female cone. Let's see if I can get a little bit better lighting on this black spruce here. So you can see all the young female cones in pink coming in there. And at the tip of the shoot, you can see the buds are just starting to flush. So once those buds open up and what we call flush, that will be this spring's growth. So right now I'm making this video It's late May, so the days are getting longer and warmer, and the trees are just getting ready to be actively growing. So I've also found some lodgepole pine cones out wandering around out here. So you see this little snarby looking tree. It's pretty covered in cones. These cones are opened up, so the seeds have been released out of them. And you can see right on the ends, so on the cone we have what we call scales, or the little, I don't know how to describe that, little pieces coming out, and on the ends of them they have little spikes. You can see them quite well if my camera will focus on these ones sticking up here. So just on the bottom of the bract. And here on this young pine I found, it has a cone that's still all sealed up. So lodgepole pine have what are called serotinous cones. So that just means it takes a lot of heat. There's a pitch or sap that seals up these scales together. Sorry, before I said the spike was on a bract, it's on the scale. So these are the cone scales all closed up together, and you can see the little spikes sticking off the end of each of them. So it's quite a small little tree with one single little cone growing on it. And you can see the buds have started to open up and develop. They'll become the shoots and the cones.